everyone. Welcome back to this lesson, Moses Tech Fix Fundamentals of Microsoft Office 365. And today we are going to look at the Excel. Let's go straight away to the Excel. Nice. So today we are going to look at the Insert tab. And then, yes, it will be cool to dig in together with you guys. So, but today, since we are going to deal with some charts and pivot tables and sparklines and filters, let me go to the file and then I choose some templates because remember I told you every Microsoft Office Word, Excel, PowerPoint, they do have templates. And I told you a template is a form or a system or pages that are already designed for you, waiting for you to just fill in your information that you like or that you prefer. So for this time around, I'm going to use inventory of such a kind. So I click on the inventory that I want to use, and then I come down here and say create. Yes. So this is the inventory that we have down here. Okay. So let's begin right away. The insert tab. So first of all, we have pivot tables. So pivot tables, they are tables that do help you simplify or summarize a huge table of records into a single small table, right? When you need a small table of your results or when you need a small table of your data, for example, when you have a thousand items in your list and you cannot look into this list and finish everything at once, so you can use pivot tables. So we have two pivot tables right here. But many times I recommend you to use the recommended pivot tables because they are so simple and they are easy to create. So for example, let's get started. You click in pivot tables, you will see that all your work is highlighted in this line down here. So this is what you are going to notice, that you have a small line in motion right here. So when your table is highlighted like this, you can now come right here in this new dialog that has been opened, and then you choose which type of pivot would you like, or how do you want your pivot to appear, right? So for example, let me take this one, and then when I click on this that I like, I will say OK. So when I say OK, you will find that my inventory list is still there, but also Excel has created another sheet which has the pivot table. So this is a small analysis of all my data. Okay, it's a small analysis of all my data. But if I still need more, for example, I need to add in more items to my pivot table. I click in my pivot table like this, and then when you look on my right hand, okay, when you look here, you have more pivot table fields to play with around. You can say you need the name of the item or the name of the drug. So the moment you click, you will see that you have the name of the drug, and then you also say maybe you need the quantity in stock. You can check it if you need it, and then you see how this behave. But if you don't need it, you just click and it goes off. Or you may say you need the unit price. You click the unit price. If you don't need the unit price, you just take it off. All right. So this is how you play around with pivot tables, and then you can even go further and play around with the with the areas. So for example, the quantity in the reorder, you need it to be in the filters. So you drag you lift and drag the quantity in reorder and place it there. So sorry, excuse me. You'll find that even your pivot table is what is changing. And then if you say maybe even the rows, you need the names to be in the rows, you leave the name and put it in the filters if you don't want it to be in the what in the rows. So hereby when you come and check, for example, I need item, I need I need item 1, I need item 12, I need item 15, and then you say okay. The sum up, or the sum of what you will get will be of the items that you have selected. All right. So, and it is always better to use the pivot tables because they create they create for you a simple design of all your document or your working. And for example, another thing, if this is a bit looking crazy for you, you can put back the names into the rows such that you have everything appearing down there. All right. So that is how we deal with pivot tables. So they're so much important in a way that they help us summarize our data into a very simple short tabular that you could be really easy for you to understand. Okay, so that is what we call a pivot table. So now when we come back to our insert, we have tables. I already talked about them in Microsoft Word. And then we have forms. Forms basically they use, we are supposed to create them while we are online. If you have a computer which is on the internet, you can try them out or even ask questions. And then we have pictures here. So I have talked about pictures in Microsoft Word, but there's a difference here when you come to Excel. So you can either insert a picture in a cell or you can insert a picture over the cells. So for example, if I click up here on this cell or this one or this cell or this one, any that I like, and then I come to pictures to place a picture in the cell, and then I will go to the device where my picture is, because remember last time I told you in Microsoft Word that this device, it means that your image is in the computer or your picture is in the computer. So when you click here, you will be directed to the folder where you have your pictures. So for example, if I have these screenshots, I find one and then I click in this one. So the moment I click in this, you will see that it comes right in my Excel, but it is fitted into one cell. So this cell is empty, this cell is empty, but it is only fitted into one cell. All right. Or I can decide to put it in front of the cell by clicking this small icon picture up on the top of this. So the moment I click it like that, you will see that now my my image becomes bigger. Okay, my image becomes bigger and it wants to span the whole work, which is not something that I want. But placing it in a cell will be better because at least now the people can really understand that this picture is for a specific area like this. All right. So that is how we deal with pictures in Excel. You either insert it in a cell or you insert it over the cells. All right. Then we have shapes. I talked about shapes in the last class, Microsoft Word. The way how you do it is the way how you do it here. You can always take practice. And then I talked about the icons. These ones they always need internet. And then I talked about the 3D models. So the three models they are like they are like 3D shapes that are being drawn in a 3D mode, but they also work over the internet. And then we have a smart art. I talked about smart art in Microsoft Word, whereby I told you it is a very important tool to design an organization chart or a hierarchy in a certain situation. So you what you do, you just have to say maybe I need a matrix, and then you select which type of matrix that you like. You click on it, and then you say okay. So the moment you say okay, the matrix will have to fold or to write itself in your document. But for now, we do not need it. So it will be in our next lesson that will be about editing pictures and shapes, right? So but that is how it works. That is how it is supposed to be, the smart art. And then we have screenshots. I told you about screenshots. These ones, they're just like, for example, as you would, excuse me, as you would take a screenshot of your phone. So you click here on the screenshot and then come to screen clipping. When you come to screen clipping, the computer will take you to the nearby open page that is closed. So when you happen to see what you want and you highlight where you want the screenshot to appear from, and then the moment you remove the highlight or your finger from the mouse after highlighting, you will see that the screenshot has appeared already in your work. Okay, so that is all about the screenshot in Excel, and we shall have a class about it and how to edit pictures, screenshots, and shapes. All right, then we have what we call a checkbox. So a checkbox, if you have ever come across online forms that have small boxes, or when you're filling in a physical form, they do sometimes have checkboxes. So for example, when I click on the checkbox, you will see, or you will come to realize that I have a small box right here in this cell. So right now I haven't checked it, so the computer is telling me that I have a false value because I haven't placed the tick. But when I click in this box, you will see that it will turn to a tick, and then the computer will tell me that your value is true. So that is basically a checkbox, and we always do apply it from the insert. So when you find it anywhere, don't be surprised. We check boxes. We can always also apply them in the Excel documentation. Okay. Then we have what we call charts. So these ones, they are very important charts because they help us analyze our data. So they help you put a huge sum of data into a physical drawing that will help you understand much more better. And when you are placing a pie chart or when you are using charts, it is always better to use at least two columns or two values in the in your chart. So, for example, if I want to know the if I want to insert a pie chart in the inventory, all right. So when I highlight the inventory, oops, sorry, I don't need to go much more further. So when I highlight the inventory like that, I come to my keyboard and then I look for the button called control, which is CTRL. CTRL for control. So when you press that button, you also come now for this case, I will need the name because the name is very important when you are going to put a graph or a chart. So when I highlight the name as well, you will find that both the column of the names and the column of the inventory value, they are both highlighted. So the moment I remove my finger on the control button on the keyboard, so this is when I will come to select which type of chart do I need. So if I need a 2D, I just put my mouse and you see what happens behind my work. When I need 3D, I just put the mouse. When I need a 3D, which is a bar, I do like that. So it depends which one you like. And then when I need the line, I just put my mouse there and then you see what happens. When I need a 3D line, I just put there my mouse, and then you see what happens. So when you click on the graph or the pie chart that you need, then you'll see the effects taking action. So when I need a 3D and I click, you'll see that I have a 3D pie chart. When I come back to line and I say I need a 3D line and I click, you'll see that I go back to a 3D line. So these are all they are all graphs that you can use, and they are graphs that you can always practice in your free time or your daily time, such that you can get to know much more bit about them. And I am waiting for questions in the comments about any of these. And yeah, so when we go a bit further, you can see we have pivot charts. So these ones, they work much more better in pivot tables. So for example, when you have this, and then you go to the pivot to the pivot chart. So the table range, it has to be where you need the um, the pie chart to take effect in the pivot. And then when you after you highlight and then you come and click OK, you will see that the pivot name is not valid. Oh, sorry. Okay, I will have to do this again. So I click in the pivot, and then I try to insert a pivot chart. So you will see that when I click in the pivot table itself, then I come to the pivot chart. I have a pivot chart active here, down here. And then when I click in the pivot chart, you see I have many. I have stock, I have any that I would like to choose. I have maps, I have XY. So when I prefer stock, I choose one that I need, and then you will press OK. And then when I need radar, I choose what I need, and then I will press OK. When I need a sunburst, when I need a tree map, when I need a line, you just choose the one you like, and then you press OK. So when you press OK, you will see that you have a graph already placed here. So, but my recommendation is, if you have an inventory list and you have already inserted a pie chart or a graph, it doesn't okay. It is okay, you can consider that. But if you have a pivot table and you have inserted a graph or a pie chart in the pivot table, it is okay, you can leave the inventory, because all the information is the same. The information in the pivot here is the same as the information in the inventory. So you will it will not like make sense to have it to have all of them in a graph, because they all have the same values. Okay, they all have the same values. So only that maybe the pivot table somewhere somehow missed some values, or you selected for example let me see the unit price. You have a unit price in the inventory, but you never selected the unit price, and when you select it here, you will see that you have some changes. So it is better if you have used the graph in the inventory. You can leave the pivot one, or you can use one of the two. All right. Then when you come back here to the insert, we have what we call sparkle lines. So a sparkle line, they're just um, they're just indicators to show you like a growth, or um, there's either an increase or a decrease. These sparkle lines. And how do you get them? So you highlight the values that you want. For example, the inventory value, and then when you come and you highlight as well the place maybe where they are supposed to go, and then you choose a oh, sorry. When you highlight the the inventory value, and then you come to to the to the to the sparkle lines, and then you also choose where maybe you would like them to go. For example, here, and then you come down right here and click OK. Oh, sorry, the reference is not valid. Okay, okay. So let me highlight the let me try the quantity, and then I select sparkle lines, and then I choose the location to be here, and then when I click OK, you will see that sparkle lines, they will have to appear here, and then you have to change which lines, which design would you like. Just give me a second, I have to make sure that this works. So when I highlight the quantity in the reorder, and then I come to the insert, I select a sparkle line, and then I change I also highlight the place where I need them to go, for example, from here up to here. So when I press OK, they should be able to come on your laptop. Okay, they should be able to come, and then you will see them as lines, either showing an increase or a decrease in your values. So let me try it up again one more time in the inventory value. So when I select this time around, let me select uh, a win or a loss. So I have to select where I need them to go. For example, when I select like from here, and then I press OK. Yes, this is how they're supposed to be. All right. So you can either choose the column if you want, or you can choose the line if you want. So I'm not sure why my line is not happening, but it should be happening on your laptops, okay, or when you give it a try. So those are what we call sparkle lines, basically to show you maybe there is an increase or a decrease, or to show you a small analysis of what your information is all about. And then we have the slicers here. So a slicer, it's just they're just like uh, they're just like cards. Okay, they're just like cards, but they require connections, right? So when you have a different workbook, or when you have let me say a different workbook from another, from your desktop, you can always link the slicers if you have a connection. For example, right here, if you have another uh, Excel workbook on the desktop, you can always, or somewhere else in the documents, you can always link them up from the network, from the files from this computer, or you can even browse for more. When you browse for more, you will be able to see what you have, or any data sources that you have. But then for now, let us just we are going to look at the slicers from our inventory. So when you highlight, for example, the recorder level, and then the recorder time in days, and then maybe the quantity in reorder, and you select the slicer, so you have something like this. All right, you will have something like this. So when you check the inventory ID, you check the name, you check the description, and you click OK, you will see that you have there like small cards. Okay, they are like small cards displayed on your Excel. All right. So these ones, they also help you to do a simple data analysis of your information. So and when you just click on the values, you will see that it calls only the value that you have clicked. All right. So for example, when I need an item which is 25 and I click 25, I will be able to get all the information about item 25. So in short terms, if you have a huge table and you need to summarize your work a bit, and like 1,000 people in this list, and you need to view only people who appeared in your company in 2010. You cannot go scrolling in everywhere. No, it is better for you to create a slicer, because a slicer will be showing you each and every single item. For example, if you need item 002 and you click on this item, you will see that the slicer will remove. It's like you are filtering, it's like you are sorting, you are filtering. Okay, that is how the slicer works. All right. Then when we go to the insert again, we also have a timeline right here, but this timeline also, it's like a slicer, and we do not focus on this one so much. And then the links, we also do not focus on them so much, because they do link documents. Okay. So remember, I told you in Microsoft Word that you can link a document. When you go back to our previous uh, Microsoft Words, I showed you how to link a document to another, and then you can be able to use that link and open a certain document from where you are. And then I talked about the comments in Microsoft Word, and then I talked about the text here, the header and the footer, the word art, and then I told you the signatures. We do not consider them so much. And then I also talked about the equation and the symbols. So yeah, thank you very much for attending in. You can always make much more practice, ask questions. If you need extra lessons, you can also let us know. You can contact us from our YouTube channel. There is a WhatsApp number, and there is a website if you need to see what we do much more once again. But thank you for coming, and these are fundamental Microsoft Office 365 tips in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Publisher. All right, see you in the next class.